Pickaxe.
Welcome to the end. It is an absolute honor to bring you the finale of our second mini-series, Fables of Fendraeya, Wyldacre, during our 3-year anniversary month. Thank you all for being with us for another story, and we promise it is not the last. If you would like to show your support for Cast Party, consider joining our Patreon, patreon.com/castparty. For the price of a single cup of coffee per month, you can help us continue bringing you the highest quality D&D content that we possibly can. And we want to thank you all for supporting us for the last 3 years. We want to thank the cast and crew who joined us for Wyldacre, to Betty and to Seth, the new cast and crew members of Cast Party. Thank you so much for joining us, for bringing characters that we will remember until the end of time. Thank you to Nigel for joining us for a new mini-series, and thank you to Jose for running yet another incredible story. Stay tuned in 2 weeks for a campaign wrap-up featuring the cast and crew of Wyldacre as we chat about the campaign, ask your lingering questions that may not have been answered, do a deep dive into the story of Wyldacre, and so much more. And afterwards, stay tuned for the trailer of our next mini-series. Wyldacre will be missed, but so will our next adventure. Thank you all so much for listening. Enjoy the finale, cast and crew.
Hello everyone, and welcome to Fables of Fendraeya, Wyldacre. My name is Jose Polino, or at DM Jose G, and I will be your director for this final episode of Wyldacre. I am joined by my surviving and thriving, and hopefully still a bit confused cast and crew. We'll begin with Ryan.
Hi, Brian McManus. I'll be playing Fiffin, the maker-taker, kinda lover satyr. And you can find me on my personals at Ryan.McManus or run on the Cast Party socials at Cast Party D&D.
Nigel.
Hello, Nigel Deacon playing Pond, your favorite froggy friend who's found his forever family. You can find me at Nigel Sucks LMAO on every social that matters.
Betty.
Hi, my name is Betty. I am who.the.lovely on TikTok and Instagram, and I play Quinn, the mighty owlin who is as righteous as she is small.
And finally, we have Seth.
Good evening, friends, loved ones. My name is Knock, and for the last time, forever and ever, I will be playing Cheese, the dog. After which tonight will never exist ever again. You can find me on TikTok at Noctopus and Instagram and Threads at Noct.topus.
So in the last session, through a very less than fortuitous culmination of events, Omis revealed that he's just after the child, Floor, who in his true name, Torin, has now been donned another name by this individual that stood before you towering. Ominously and threatening, he now names the child Xander. With that, he takes the child. You all engage in a battle with the 3 remaining individuals of his group, Rook, Wania, and Bjordor, who all mold and weave themselves into this black tar-like substance that is still growing and still figuring out itself. But fairly quickly, you all struck it down during its transformation scene, which can only lead to more things. With that, you took the medicine to get rid of the Jasper from the throne of the Archfey, and with that, Yermo touched the Archfey in his baby form. The elements of this rock shatter throughout the entire palace, and there, standing in front of you, you see Yermo, back to his normal self. And this individual, taller, bald-headed, with a crown of thorns that seems to be hovering right above his head, but a mess of vines that come down all the way to the floor, and a beautiful attire that is comprised of all of the elements of this land. And that's where we pick up, as you all stare at this individual and Yermo side by side with each other. The black blob of the three other individuals, very much in its own sort of wild nature, begins to try to disperse itself. And as the rest of the jasper from the entire room is essentially completely destroyed, this black blob begins to make its way towards the door. Pieces of it, almost like hands, clutching onto the ground and trying to grab on in a very hurried pace away from the Archfey. And the Archfey stands there and looks at all of you and goes, "Finally, we meet. Yermo, help me here. Who are these individuals again?" And you watch as Yermo turns around and he goes, "Sire, this is... Did you all have a name for yourselves, or did you just go by your standard names? Because I can introduce you however you'd like. It is just the Archfey."
We're the family.
We're family.
"Sire, I introduce to you the family." You watch as Sire goes, "How wonderful. All of different shapes and sizes and makes. I like that. It's creative. And I know to stay away from you." And you watch as almost like a 80s 3D effect, he comes into your view pond so personally up close, and his finger just hovers right over your forehead. "Best to keep away." And then immediately presents his hand over to Cheese.
I sniff it.
"Now that's a good boy. And the creator and the one who sees it all. You really are an interesting family. And now you have found yourselves in great peril. All because of me. I apologize. And I thank you for your time. But I think we're done here. Thank you very much." And you watch as Sire takes his cape and he turns it and he begins to walk back to this broken crystal-like chair. And as he tries to stumble and sit in it, even Yermo looks to him and then looks back at you all and goes, "Sire, my deepest apologies. I do not think you understand the severity of our problem. We are, of course, upon the voracious night." "Yes, it looks like we are." "And Omis has taken the child. These individuals wanted to protect the child. We owe it to that and many other things, as I'm sure you're aware. I guess there's a lot to do, but not much time. Where do we begin? Fiffin, is it?"
Yeah, hello. It's a pleasure, I suppose.
"Pleasure's mine, creator."
I don't know where we go from here. I'll be totally honest with you. I'm surprised we even made it this far.
"So am I."
I actually have a suggestion if it's all right. Your archfailiness.
I like that name. Refer to me that moving forward. Yermo, make a note.
Could we get the people in here out of the cages?
Oh, that we can do. And the archdevil appears right above your mother. And then Sire goes, "Oh, and he's here too. Wonderful. How many members of your family are there?"
At least 6.
I never knew how to count.
"Very well." Markar looks to you, Cheese, blinks for a second, and then... Cheese?
As soon as I hear that, I turn around and I full dead sprint and I jump on her face. I'm licking all over her face.
Oh! You're like licking her face and she's like still trying to gather herself and you're just completely devoting yourself to her and she just, "Okay, all right, that's a good boy. That's a good boy. Okay, now, all right, okay, that's a good boy," and starts grabbing you behind the ears and giving you the scratches and all of the affection that you're very used to. And then she stops and says, "Okay, now, and she holds you in front of her. How are you here? Where are we? And then she puts you down and begins to like dust herself off and get up, and she brandishes one single dagger that you know she keeps tucked away hidden and looks around everywhere. Hello, everyone, she says to you all.
2-finger salute.
Me and my dog here seem to be lost. Perhaps you could do us the honor of showing us the way out. She looks down to you, Cheese, and she goes, there's no point in threats. I'm so lost.
I don't say anything at first. I'm about to, but then I realize that Markar's never heard me speak before, really. And I think that there's this hesitation to show her this different side now that exists. I open my mouth as if I'm about to speak, and then I just kind of hesitate.
When you open your mouth, she takes it as you're happy, one of those things where you just are not able to discern essentially what an animal really is feeling. But she greets you with confidence. She pets the top of your head. You know what? Scratch that. We'll see ourselves out. Thank you very much. This has been a treat. This is freaky. She points over at the archfey. She goes, I don't know what the hell you are, and I don't know what the hell that is. And then points over to the archdevil and goes, but we are set. Good. All right. Come on, Cheese. And she like leans down and like taps on her chest for you to jump on her arms.
I take a step back.
All right, come on then, Cheese. All right, we'll walk side by side with me. Thank you. And then she walks away, and you hear that she begins to mutter to herself. Okay, some fucking place in the middle of nowhere. There's some things with horns and colors.
As she turns around and starts walking, one of the black tendrils wraps around her ankle, kind of stop her.
She stops. She turns around and then looks over to you and goes, Cheese?
Whines a little bit, and then I kind of look back at everyone else briefly, and then I turn back to her and I go,
Markar, we can't leave yet.
Her eyes widen. Okay. All right. That's all very well. This is all... Did you just fucking talk?
My ears droop.
Yes.
And you answered. You answered back. Right. So if I ask you another question, you're just going to respond again? Okay. What's my name?
Markar. You're Markar.
And you are?
And I'm Cheese.
Great. And you see as she flops herself down onto the stone steps that make up the throne room, and she goes, okay, I think I've gone crazy now. My dog is talking to me.
You're not crazy. After we lost each other in that fog, I wound up here. And then I met all of these people, and we found a baby. And then we took this baby all the way over here, and then I found you, and I thought that we were never going to see each other again. There's nothing crazy about that.
Did you say the fog? You remember the fog?
Yeah, it's one of the first things I remember.
Oh, and you watch as she is having not a mental breakdown, but she's putting all these things together in her head, and she begins to hold the top of it. Oh, Cheese. Oh, my sweet boy. And then she finally turns her direction towards you completely. Cheese, where are we?
We're in Wyldacre.
She looks around and then looks over at the Archfey and the Archdevil and all of you. And then she doesn't say anything. She's just still processing. Quinn. From the other side, you see as your mother begins to get up, and the Archdevil, once he makes sure that she is okay, he stands erect and looks over at the Archfey and begins to walk in his direction, leaving your mother ruffling her feathers to herself and looking around, and then sees you. Her eyes, they click open, and then flies over to you and just embraces you.
I hug her back. Quinn was super hesitant because she remembered that the Archfey said that it wouldn't last. So she didn't want to go over to her mom and wake her up if she didn't remember her. So now that she knows that her mom remembered her, she's hugging her mom back. Her feathers are all poofy and... Are you alright? What happened?
I don't quite remember. I feel a little confused. I can't really piece all the details together. 1 minute I was in the courtyard with him, and the next I was seeing you in this space floating through, which also is another thing altogether. I don't know what any of this is.
It's alright. It's alright. You're confused. Are you hurt?
She looks down at her wings. Doesn't seem like it.
Mum, I don't mean any insult when I ask you this question. Do you know how to fight? Are you a fighter?
I was some time ago. But then... Omis, right. He's here.
Yes, how do you know Omis?
He's what made me this way. He's what killed me that night. And you watch as Yermo looks over and he goes, Your mother, Quinn, was investigating something for us. Your mother looks back. You! How dare you put my daughter through this? You watch as Yermo goes, No, not me. I am just as confused as you are. There was a good point of my life that I didn't remember either up until this point. And I know that may seem a little crazy to think about, but please. You watch as your mother, she flutters over in his direction. Care to explain yourself, Yermo? We never intended for any harm to come to you. Never.
I'll fly over there. What were you investigating? What do you know about Omis?
Omis has discovered something. And you watch as when she says that, Marakar, her head turns up slightly. And then Yermo goes, Omis tricked us all. All of us. There is no knowing, for we were all under his control. You watch as Marakar goes, That's it. And then looks over to you, Cheese, and then pets you, and then I was looking for something too from him. And I think it was, and then the Archfey says, Chaos control is what you were searching. That's exactly what it was. Archfey sort of looks and he's the ability to have the ley lines show themselves to you amidst all chaos and brandish them to your will. That is exactly what he was after. And perhaps he has found it, which is good. Or bad, however you want to think about it. I have to be indifferent about it all. And you watch as the Archdevil grabs the scruff of the Archfey and brings him close. You don't have the privilege to be indifferent about it. He stands there in the tense room, and then your mother says, Omis was seeking something. He was having the Archfey perform these tasks to create chaos in Wyldacre. And then the Archfey says, Rip the wings of fairies, collect the horns of creatures, burn flowers, and let the trees walk endlessly without purpose. Beautiful chaos. But I did those things on my own. You watch as your mother looks over to him and Yermo as well. You were not under the influence of Omis? And the Archfey says, I was fooled by a same vision, by a same hope. And so I trusted in Omis, and I did as he asked. I did not think it would lead to this. None of this. For what it's worth, I'm sorry. The Archdevil stops, he huffs out, and he goes, This leads us nowhere. This is all in the past. And none of it makes any fucking sense.
We know what Omis wants. We know why he's using the Voracious Knight. We could stop him, couldn't we?
And at that point, from the back of the room, Zymus, he speaks. Excuse me. Quinn, was it? And he begins to walk over to you. You know that the child is under his control now.
If we stop him, we can stop the control, can't we?
There is no stopping Omis. And the Archfey says, He is eternal, like many of us. Or some of us. If you wanted to take on a proposed god of sorts, you would need a lot more skill than what you currently have. So it is impossible to take him down. Someone like me, perhaps, could entertain the idea. But to stop this, it's a bit beyond our control at this point.
Aren't you, like, the ruler of everything here? I mean, if he's just your right hand, why is it so hard to stop him?
let's clarify some things. Yermo is my right hand.
Dang it.
Oh.
And you know what, just Yermo goes, again, I didn't remember much. There was many things that were blocked from me. Don't hold me accountable to this degree. There was much I was trying to do. Subconsciously, perhaps. And at that point, Simus walks over to you and he says, Torin, Flor, Xander now, whatever the child chooses to call itself, or better yet, what Omis has called the child. This child is what you need to convince for the effects of the voracious night to not take effect. And then the Archdevil says, you above all else, the four of you, right here, we may lend some assistance, but the child must be shown that the path that he is on is not of his making. He has another chance at life. At this point, Omis has probably corrupted him and instilled in him all of his malice and anger and absolute chaos. The child's mind is primed and ready for Omis. He is natural. He's lost, but he's in there somewhere.
Well, if he's lost, then all we gotta do is find him. We spent more than a week doing almost just that. If all we have to do is convince Florin to come back to us, I think we can do that.
I hope you know I don't mean literally find him. Metaphorically. The child now is possibly at the side of Omis, galaxies away, multiple planes of realities away. The possibilities are endless. And then Sire goes, or he could be right outside. And then the Archdevil turns around, he goes, all because of the prophecy. You did all this to escape that. And Sire, for the first time, his face grows cold and serious and looks over at the Archdevil. What I do is my business, not yours.
Well, it's becoming our business now. Flora's a part of this family too, and if he's not here, then our family isn't complete.
Yeah, you know, it's really kind of messed up how much people like you kind of just like mess with everything, and it mostly affects people like us. Cause like why you gotta do that? It's so selfish. There's so many of us here.
There's that word again. Selfish. Quinn, from the corner of your eye, you watch as Zymus walks over to the other body that remains on the ground. And he's just like attending to this woman.
I'll flit over to him. This was Floor's mother, wasn't it?
This was. She's gone from us. Spend some time. You watch as he takes fabric from the sort of like underlining part of his shirt and he rips it. And he covers her eyes with it. The boy didn't know. None of us knew. And her purpose in being here, I do not know what it is. But it is cruel. I wanted to take the boy home. That was my task. I am tasked with taking lost things back to where they belong. And he lowers his voice slightly. I know I mentioned it, but your two friends, I can do that for them too.
That's a decision only they can make. They know we need them here right now. I need them here right now.
It's their choice at the end of the day. Same as it is the child's. But he's much too young. What are the rest of you doing as this conversation's happening?
Fiffin is more so standing a couple steps back from everybody, just watching the reunions, making sure that everything's okay, but ultimately just trying to decide if this is where he belongs. It seems like everyone has their purpose and has their family and has something, and Fiffin is just feeling a little empty. Not really sure what direction he should take or where he'll end up.
And then he feels Pon's hand just touch his foot while apologizing. Hopefully you're wearing a boot or something.
Nope, sorry. Straight hoof.
That's just open hoof.
Yeah. Pond is standing next to you. His hand is like hovering near you, and the mage hand touches your foot.
Fiffin will look down in acknowledgement. You could always just touch the greaves. Can't get through scale mail, right?
It leaks. It seeps. I don't. We're all in this together at the moment. I'm just hoping that we can all go back home to town.
Yeah, I miss it right now. This is the longest I've been away from town. It's weird.
Technically, same.
What is it like going from some place that you knew so well? It's all you've ever known. To somewhere brand new.
Well, not to sound dramatic or cliche, but I never really felt like I knew anything about where I was from before. My old family, my tribe, my village, they were so different from me. I went through the motions, I did the things. I did what made sense to them, but it never seemed to make sense to me. And now after meeting all of you, it makes even less sense. Coming here was incredibly freeing and rejuvenating, even though it took a little bit to kind of feel comfortable. It still felt like this was closer to home than I ever felt back on wherever I'm from.
Noted. I'm glad you ended up in our little civilization here. Town's pretty neat.
Me too. Hey, Fiffin, I hurt Floor before they disappeared. I was panicking, I didn't know what to do, and I thought maybe like a shock would break him out of the spell. I didn't know what to do, and I got scared, and I'm nervous about what he's going to do if we try and convince him that we're still the good guys. That we're still the ones that care about him.
If it makes you feel any better, I would have done the same thing. That's not Floor. That's not who we watched grow up. Like, literally. I don't know what got into his head, but I would have done the same thing. Just anything to try to shake him, wake him up, bring out the real Floor. And I think if we can just talk to him, maybe away from Omis. I don't know how that's going to happen, but he's in there. We just have to figure out how to get to it. But I don't think what you did was wrong. I think he'll understand, and I mean, Floor has basically known you his entire life. You out of everyone has been looking out for him the most. Making sure we don't lose him.
I'll keep my fingers crossed then.
He called you Mom. I think you're fine.
I don't have an argument for that.
Guillermo walks over to the two of you. You know that the Archfey, and you watch now as when you turn, the Archfey and the Archdevil have their sort of backs to you all, and they're engaged in a very heated battle through their hand gestures and the intense look that they have, but their lips are not moving. Guillermo says to you, the Archdevil had two individuals that sought him out, or should I say, one individual, comprised of two minds that wanted something from the Archfey. He promised them eternal glory and salvation from the pain, but then he betrayed them. Or they betrayed themselves. It's quite complicated, but there are some occasions in which, under the right circumstance, you've done the right thing for Floor. He has to be able to listen to some degree. The individuals that came to Sire were not keen on listening. They were bickering and discussing and talking of the most foul things, all for what? For the dreams of their father. Floor is walking a path set by Omis, same as those boys. strip him away of the path and show him what life can really be. And perhaps Flora will not meet the same fate as those two. Simon says to you, Quinn, this woman is from Bacaria. This is where Torrhen's from. Archfey and Omis and all of these influences had their eyes set on this small town. For what reasons? May there be their own. But perhaps if we return the child back home, that could help. Markar says to you, Cheese, I remember reading a book once, and all of the exploits that we would go on together that spoke of chaosification, this chaos control, this sort of arcane might that is not really anything set in stone, but Omis has been crafting it for some time. In my readings, it spoke of the voracious night, it spoke of the moons of the different planes of existence all coinciding on one day, where natural chaos, the tide shifting as the moons weave in and out, and forced chaos, when these two marry each other, this chaosification can be harnessed. Many of Omis's followers spoke of the purest form of it being present to them, but only Omis could choose who this individual is allowed to wield it, to hold it. I don't know how it works. She looks down at you and goes, I'm sorry, Cheese. I'm sorry for what I put you through. I wanted that. I thought you and I could live forever, in eternity, you as my best boy. But I guess I too fell for his tricks. I don't know what to say. I'm so sorry, Cheese.
We all make mistakes, Mari. I don't blame you for that. But wanting to live forever, that sounds awful. Life is wonderful because it ends. Stories are fantastic because sometimes they come to a close and we get to think about them. But a story that never ends, that sounds like a nightmare.
But what do I do, Cheese, when you're gone?
You find another dog and you love him just like you loved me.
She kind of chuckles slightly, cups the back of your ear. That's impossible. I know what you mean, but there's no one like you, Cheese.
Lick her on the cheek. If you ever put me through this again, I'm gonna punch you. This has been both incredibly fun and terrifying, and as much as I've gained, I feel like we've also lost a lot of things too. And I'm not gonna lose Floor.
I'll kind of hop over once I see the cuteness overload coming to a minor close. Excuse me, Miss Marikar. So nice to meet you. My name's Pond. We've heard so much about you from Cheese. Do you know Omis's kids?
Not personally, other creature that is now just speaking to me.
I'm from where you're from, if that helps.
Okay. We need to get out more then, Cheese. Yeah, sorry. So to answer your question, the children, Blightmore and Namora, were never shown to me. They were just influences that many felt, and many tried to reach out to, but failed in doing so. Many believed that if you were to find the twins and that you were to assist them in their own personal goals, that perhaps you would earn Omis's favor, and in turn, you would be beholden of this gift. But then something happened and the children were not heard from. The twins they're gone. And at that point, I felt myself seeking anything. I'm not religious, and maybe I am a fool, but I just prayed to him. Hopefully he would answer. I was not aware at all. And you watch at this point, in her hand has been holding like a small, slightly corroded ring that is like silver and red and turns to black. And she just drops it. And it just lands hard on the ground. I was just I don't know what I was doing. I was chasing a fever stream. All because I was afraid to lose everything.
I'll place the mage hand gently on her shoulder. Well, take it from two folks that just recently lost everything and then have found so much since. It'll be okay. We all do things that are really rash, but Cheese and I found a lot of hope after we lost it all. You'll be okay, especially now that you've got one of the best friends a person could ask for.
Looks over to you, Cheese, and it just begins to cry.
Oh, no.
And just kind of holds her head.
Sorry. Just walk away.
I'll let Zymus grieve this woman or what his job was and go over to Fiffin.
When you get up and you begin to walk away from Zymus, Zymus brings both of his arms and he scoops the woman underneath and he holds on and he looks over and he looks in the direction, and the only individual that senses some attention is being sought is the Archdevil that turns around and holding on to the woman goes, "I'll return." And you watch as his claws glow golden bright. In the space before you, he just like rips a fabric and he begins to glow in this whitish golden light and he vanishes through it. And you walk over to your friends.
Fiffin,
Yep, what's up?
can I perch? And she's on the ground, pointing with a wing up to your shoulder.
Yep. Take a shoulder, take a horn, whatever you need.
And she'll fly up and land on your shoulder. What the fuck do we do here, Fiffin?
I'm so sad that you just asked me that, because guess what? I was gonna ask you the same damn thing.
Oh no. We need to convince Floor. That's... okay. We need to convince Floor. We need to find him, convince him, and then go back to town. 3 steps. It seems simple.
Yeah, just 1, 2, 3. It's like an easy day's checklist.
Boom, boom, boom. Right.
Okay, but how?
You hear a loud thundering sound as the halls of this castle begin to rumble slightly. Everyone looks up and the lights flicker and then they come back too.
We might have to figure this out quicker than we anticipated.
I think you're right, shit. Are you doing okay?
I'm alright. I'm having an existential crisis trying to figure out where I belong in this world, but we're here. Are you doing okay? You have your mom now. That's sick.
Ooh, sick. I'm also kind of trying to process that, because it, is a whole other facet of me that I can boxed up. Anyway, we can talk about that later time. I think we, both of us, you and I, belong here with each other, with our friends. I think that zoom in, right? I'm going to put my little monocle down. You got to zoom in a little bit, right? And we can figure the rest out later. Yeah?
Yeah, everything happens for a reason.
Yeah.
There's a reason we're here. There's a reason we had Floor and all that. We didn't have Floor. That's weird. We were brought
We did
Floor.
not. We did not have Floor. The collective we. The collective we. The collective we.
Okay. So, Omis has Floor.
Mm-hmm.
We kind of have like a little army right now.
That's what I'm saying, right? They're like, we can't kill Omis. And I'm like, well, you're God, so
Exactly.
I don't see... I think, yes. I think what we're missing is who is Omis? What makes him special? He's not the Archfey, he's not the Archdevil.
As you say that, Quinn, you hear the Archdevil say to the Archfey, low but still very stern, "You must pay for that pain." And you watch as Sire turns around, he goes, "Quiet now. Keep your voice down."
And they aren't telling us everything.
I mean, I kind of expected that coming in here.
Yeah.
All right, well, okay. Do we get info from Sire? Do we get info from the Archdevil? Or do we just go right to Omis?
I think the Archdevil's been the most helpful so far. Let's start there. Otherwise, we can just convince him, Omis, to monologue, right? He wanted to sit down and talk, right?
True.
We can convince him to tell us what the fuck his deal is, and then maybe buy us some time.
So, okay. Pond. We have the Archdevil here.
The wish.
The wish. Pond is still owed a wish. Of some sorts. What that could entail, I don't know. But, it's a freaking wish from an Archdevil. That's gotta be good.
I agree.
I know the Archdevil kind of mentioned to Pond that he should use it to, get home. Or be able to actually touch people. Do you think that's something that he would give up in hopes of saving Floor?
I know it's something he would give up, but I don't want him to. To sacrifice that.
Going your whole life without touch is sad.
I want to hug him.
I've been trying to work on something that might, lets us hug him, but then, that's not a real hug,
I know.
It's an option.
Yeah, I agree. So much to think about. We'll start with the Archdevil. We'll interrogate him first.
Okay.
You belong here, Fiffin.
So do you.
Shall we?
Maybe we should ask Pond first if he's okay with this option before we
Oh, right.
go through our list.
That's what I meant was our friends, not the Archdevil.
Yeah, okay.
Yes,
Yeah.
right. I was gesturing to them with my head, as you can clearly see.
Listen, it goes 360. I don't know where that thing goes anymore.
What's up?
You wanna pop down and at least talk to him eye to eye?
I'll hop down. Hi.
Hello.
This is a lot. A lot is happening right now.
Yeah, what a day, huh? That's what a day.
Are you all right?
I'm doing okay. Thinking about a lot of stuff, but overall, all right as I can be given the situation.
You're owed a wish.
You're right. You're so right. Maybe we can use it for Floor. I think that the Archdevil and Sire are they don't want to help because they're scared. That's what I think. I'm not saying this quietly, but I do think that. Maybe I can use the wish to have the Archdevil actually help us. Just get a minute alone with Floor away from Omis. If we can get that would be great. Did you have an idea?
You are a solely unselfish being, Pond. I think if you wanted to use it for yourself, you could. None of us would blame you for that.
But why would I want to do that when I could do something that would make everyone happy? If all of you are happy and safe, and Floor is happy and safe, and the world isn't gonna end because of some god's tyrannical thirst for power, I've gone my whole life without being able to hug someone or being able to go home, whatever. I can wait another year or another 2, my whole life, whatever. I've gotten so much from being around you guys, affection both physical and emotional, more than I've ever received, and I couldn't be happier with that. I don't need to use a wish for something like that.
All right. I just wanted to check with you. We wanted to check with you.
I really appreciate that. I mean, you made the right call by even just reminding me that I had that.
Shall we chat with, Cheese, then?
Yeah. He's being, sobbed on right now, so he might be good to be, pulled out of that. Psst. Cheese. Hey. Psst.
Snap my head around. You see, Markar's, wiping her face on my fur. Just, getting the tears off.
Oh, God.
I look back and go, if I could just get a second. And I shadow step out and there's, a trail of slime, snot.
Oh.
Hey, what's going on?
So we're gonna try to use the Archdevil's wish to get some time with Floor.
Oh my god, I completely forgot you had a wish.
Me too.
Man, how do y'all forget about a wish? That's literally anything you want. That's all I've been thinking about is ways to manipulate Pond into getting what I want.
Like I just said, everything I could ever want has already been given to me since I got here. I don't need the wish. You could have just asked. Psst, Archdevil. Psst.
You watch as the Archdevil turns around, very serious, very angry demeanor. But then when he looks to you, he tries to slightly soften and he goes, "Yes, Pond."
hello, Mr. Archdevil, sir. It's good to see you again. I would like to cash in my wish, please.
Oh, yes. Right now. You wish to cash in your wish. Perfect. You watch as the Archfey turns to him and he goes, you granted them a wish? And he goes, not yet. But because of your doing, I promised them. Oh, that's endearing. That's so endearing. Okay, go ahead, carry on. How can I make your wish come true, Pond?
Pond looks at each of the crew and then looks back at the Archdevil and says, I wish that you would give us a way to talk to Floor alone, away from Omis. Any way that you can do that, we just need to be able to talk to him alone. Is that possible?
The child's mind is intertwined with Omis. Unless the child can be separated through its influence, Omis will always find the child. If time, as I don't believe it to be too much on our side, is hinting at anything, is that there perhaps may not be a home to return him to, should the voracious night take hold of the boy. The Archdevil looks over and he says, I can grant the wish, but only when he is selfless of spirit. The Archfey goes, I didn't ask you to return. I knew this was all much of my doing, and I was very much able to live with the prophecy as is and just let it ride out, and hell, damnation for us all. He watches the Archdevil turns around, he goes, can you not take anything seriously? Not anymore. Not anymore. I would have to... What? Charge at Omis myself for you to get your wish? Is that what you want? Or you wish to claim the throne for yourself? And you watch as the Archdevil kind of rolls his eyes and goes, not this again. And Yermo, pardon me, your highness, please, leave the past in the past. This is much more than just about the throne. This is about the denizens of Wyldacre and the plains beyond. Omis will send everything into chaos, and he'll use the boy. Please, uphold your end and pay for your pain. The Archfey looks to him. So you too, then, huh? Is no one by my side? Will no one understand? All I ever wanted was just another shot, another chance. I wanted the boy to be understanding. I wanted him to comprehend it all. I wanted to gift him the universe. That's all I ever wanted. But now, because Omis has taken charge of him and warped his mind, I did not do that. Sure, perhaps I'd led to some of the reasons for why the child is here, but it all is minor details in the greater narrative. My time is coming soon, as we all are aware, and looks over to Yermo and the Archdevil. And then the Archdevil goes, then fulfill it. And I'll only say this once. Please. The Archfey stands, rubbing his fingers together, and he touches the top of his forehead. A wish is a very delicate thing. Let's begin there. What you do is finite. It can shape reality itself. What you wish for on this day will come to be. Let the moons of this world not be trashed and tarnished in the events of the voracious night. I will engage with Omis. I'll speak with him, grant him the audience he so desperately needs. And that's what I can give you. But until my time is up, you will not be able to grant your wish. And you watch as the Archdevil turns around and he goes, no, uphold it. Do your part. I'm trying to. I'm going to go out there. I will engage with him in a battle of wits that will rage on for the rest of eternity. unless I die, I will not be free of this. And you will not be complete enough to cast a wish. So let's just meet our fate head on. Head out there, you speak to the child, I'll speak to Omis, and perhaps it'll all work itself out. And you watch at this point, Yermo turns to the Archfey, and his horns begin to crystallize. And as they do, Yermo's eyes begin to glow brighter. And then the Archfey says, Yermo, cool yourself. And Yermo goes, I can do it if you wish. And then Yermo turns to you all and says, the right hand of the Archfey is not just an individual born and bred here. It is an essence of the Archfey. So perhaps, if I die, then a part of the Archfey will be less selfish, and so we can grant a wish, if that is what we all want to do.
You would need to sacrifice yourself to make the wish possible?
I shared a consciousness with the Archfey. Part of me is a part of him. If you will, I am a vessel in which the Archfey can communicate. The reason your eyes are not burning right now is because I am making it so. No one has ever truly seen the Archfey. All of you, as he's saying this, feel a touch of a burning sensation in the back of your head. Slightly. And Yermo says, does that answer your question, Cheese?
I'm not choosing any option that requires that someone die for us.
Admittedly, I kind of already tried to get rid of you once, so I don't have a dog in this race. No offense, Yermo. Or Cheese.
The Archdevil says, but you have died once. And Yermo says, that is correct. And they brought me back. And then the Archdevil then looks to all of you and goes, then all of you are now beholden to the Archfey spirit.
I don't want to die either.
In that moment, all of you feel like a surge of energy hit the center of your chest. And you feel it like beginning to trickle to like different parts, extremities of your body. And you watch as the Archfey looks up, and for a brief second, it seems like he's a light that begins to glow brighter and brighter. And you feel yourself slightly nauseous, slightly better than you were. More focused, more willing. You all level up.
Oh,
Hell yes!
Let's go.
Yes!
You hear in the midst of this, as your minds are beginning to almost connect with the Archfey on a deeper ethereal level. Archfey Sire, you hear a voice, almost like a memory. In order for me to protect Queen Velaspian, I offer you this prophecy. You hear the voice of the Archfey. Aidwolf, you mean to bestow upon me a prophecy? That is correct. And if I relinquish the Queen, you will relinquish your gift? And Aidwolf goes, on behalf of the Wizard Pojin, I will. Very well. You hear this voice. On the night of the Festival of Trays, the moons will alight and the cosmos will shatter. A crying mind and the influence of hundreds will be the last rule you will have claim to. And you hear the Archfey go, oh, but that's sad. And you cut away from it. And then the Archfey looks to you all. Can you guys tell me your intelligence score?
12.
18.
8.
14.
Fiffin. Immediately, you piece it together. Tonight, the Festival of Trays, under the voracious night, hundreds of minds influenced outside of these halls. The crying mind of Floor, all of it clicks, and the last line. And this will be the last night he will rule. After tonight, the Archfey will no longer hold dominion over Wyldacre. And perhaps That is why he's being so difficult, choosing to not accept his fate. The rumbling and the shattering and the sounds from outside begin to grow heavier and heavier.
So, it's your last night, huh? Looking at the Archfey.
The Archfey looks to you. Perhaps. He never said I had to die. And for a brief second, there's like a moment where he almost longingly is looking at the halls and he goes, I just won't be here anymore.
So what are you gonna do to celebrate? You got one more night with all these moons, and you control it all. Why don't you go out with a bang?
Make a persuasion check with advantage.
15.
Turns over and he goes, why don't you?
I think that's our plan. We came in here preying on words. And I've been trying to stifle these two guys for the entire time we've been here. They wanted to come in guns blazing. And I think it's time we let them.
The halls now begin to continue rumbling. Make another persuasion check.
19.
The Archfey holds his chin, pale skin, looks over to you, and just trying to hide his lips away from everybody, but one side's still clearly very open. And he looks to you and he goes, but have you even thought about what if I can't stop him?
We can talk about what ifs all night. What ifs don't get us solutions. What if is just hopelessness. So why don't you actually do something? Instead of sitting here and pondering what could or could not be.
Make one final persuasion check with advantage.
Guidance.
D4?
Yeah.
Dirty 20.
Let's go.
You watch as Sire looks to you. I remembered the day that you were born, Fiffin. You looked everywhere. Your eyes couldn't stay put in one place. You were constantly finicking with your mind. You were truly wonderful, you know that?
Thank you.
I wish I could have seen the treehouse.
Yeah, me too.
Oh, you'll be fine. You just have to talk to a boy that's been corrupted by chaos itself. All right, let's go. And you watch as the Archfey, he gets up. And then the Archdevil looks to him. And he says, I will engage with Omis. You find the child and speak to it. Whatever form this child has now taken, you may not recognize. But he's in there. And if you get the chance, apologize to him for me. Struggles to get the words out.
Hey, if you want, Pond, would you mind hitting record real quick on your tape recorder?
Okay.
Don't push a wrong button, please.
Instead of confidently pressing the button, I instead just hold it towards you to press the button.
I'll push the little record mushroom. Why don't you tell him yourself?
He leans in closer to the tape recorder. Torin, I'm sorry you were alone. And I'm sorry that your father was corrupted, and I'm sorry that your mother paid the price. If I could, I would have the both of you live here for eternity. But that cannot be the case. I'm sorry for everything that's about to happen. I simply wanted to give you everything. And he steps away from the tape recorder. Enough of that. And the Archdevil looks at him and he goes, I'll be standing by. And he goes, good, because I don't know if I can do this on my own. And he begins to walk towards the doors on the opposite end of the chamber.
Sounds like we're getting geared up to roll out, so Cheese turns to Markar.
This isn't your fight. I'm not going to ask you to come with us. I would honestly prefer if you stayed here and out of danger. We're going to go try and rescue our baby. So we'll be back in just a bit.
First of all, cheese. Not in a power trippy kind of way, but I'm the one who tells you to stay. And she pets the top of your head and she goes, they said that hundreds of minds were influenced. Perhaps I can help in that.
Anything you can do. I just don't want you to get hurt. I've spent a long enough time away from you as it is.
And I would have had it where we would have spent no time apart. And for that, I'm sorry. You hear your mother, Quinn. I too perhaps can help with the influence. I don't know. Maybe I'll dig my talents into their eyes. And you watch as the archdevil goes, no, that's too much. And your mother goes, he doesn't like it when I get violent.
You can claw people's eyes out if you want to, Mum. He doesn't have to tell you what to do.
And your mother looks to you and goes, whatever time I have left remembering you, Quinn, I'll spend it by your side.
Be careful.
I will.
Another pointed look up at the archdevil. And then back to the group.
You all stand there together as the archface stands in front of the doors and he goes, are we ready?
Guns blazing.
Think so.
As much as we'll ever be.
Jump into my Street Fighter flesh mech form.
At that point, the archfey looks back at the halls. I'm going to miss this place. You watch as the two main doors begin to open slightly. Peering in through the very center of the room, this red light engulfs the chamber. And as the doors continue to open, there you see the fountain with Omis floating right above it. And above him, slowly coming closer and closer, moons of different sizes and shapes that are slowly gathering towards the center. And you hear Omis as each one of the individuals outside of these halls raise their hands in the courtyard up towards the moon. The archdevil looks to you, Pond, and he says, whenever you choose exactly what you want the gift to be open, be honest, clear your mind of any doubt, push Omis away as far as you can. We will be able to make it come true. Easier said than done.
Okay. Oh god, I don't... What's the game plan? Do we start smacking people until they stop chanting? Do we just...
I think we go right for Omis. I mean, if Marikar and Quinn's mom, I'm so sorry I don't have a name, if they're gonna help with getting people's minds right, I think we can just go for them, right? Just dogpile them.
Sire says to you, Omis is mine, Fiffin.
Oh, thank God.
The child is your responsibility.
Oh.
Where the heck's he at?
We won't recognize him.
Omis, you begin to hear it more and more. As when you look at Omis floating above his back to you all, slowly hovering around him, coming to his backside, a much older individual, resembling Floor, graying hair, and what looks like a long, big beard. In a very almost comedic way, seems to be wearing a shirt comprised of dead monarch butterflies, all pressed tightly together. Whatever pants he's wearing is like a cloud of smoke that continues to permeate the space. At the very top of his head, a hat. Bill facing forward, but these vibrant, piercing red eyes. You step outside and you see hundreds of the people that came to the celebration, all chanting for Omis. Step after step, get closer. Omis rises, and you notice that Sire begins to rise up to meet him as they both begin to glide up towards the empty space above you all. But there, looming behind them in the background, the moon slowly converging together. And as you continue down the steps of the Nightwell Fortress, this individual, which you knew as Floor, begins to glide down to meet you, and his feet barely touch the ground. But all you can see are just those piercing red eyes and a hat that seems to be almost made out of like a clay that's just been morphed into it. For everyone here, you've never seen anything like this. This kind of clothing, unlike anything you've ever seen. But when you see it on the child, now a man, now an older individual, lines on his face, a beard that slightly hides that beautiful soft chin that Floor had, you see him there, and the red eyes peer in your direction. Thank you for joining us. We're very glad you have made it to the festival. The celebration must go on. Will you watch it with me? And he extends his hand out. At that point, you watch as Quinn, your mother, she turns off from the left, and Marikar, clinging onto the shadows, steps away to the right. As Omis and Sire begin to glide upwards, and you hear Omis say, "You're awake. How wonderful, Your Highness. To tell you of the events that have transpired during your slumber." And Sire says, "I will not be doing this with you, Omis. I know what you have done, and I free myself of you on this night." And Omis goes, "But why? Weren't you wanting for all of this to happen?" And Sire says, "This is not of my choosing. I will be responsible for some of the pain that I've caused, but this is your own selfish nature. I should have seen it the day you stepped into the Nightwell Fortress. I was too blind and too greedy, and perhaps to a degree I still am. But this place was mine once, and it shall remain the denizens of Wyldacre." You watch as the two of them begin to glow vibrantly, Sire in a purplish white light, and Omis in a deep red white light. As they stand there, Floor, now Xander, looks to you and says, "It has begun." Behind him, the water from the fountain is like a black ooze, very reminiscent from earlier. And this blob begins to bubble. As a hand comes out and grabs onto the stonework and begins to pull itself out. You see what looks like a slightly smaller blob of a body, resembling maybe something humanoid perhaps, that then begins to wail as three of them try to separate. And there you see the bodies, Bjordor, Rook, and Wania. And they all just form again into this black blob, as from above you, both Sire and Omis disappear. And then you see the black blob join together, and one long arm comes out of it and hits the stonework. You see all of the black ooze begin to come out from the arm to reveal these bright, decaying gray scales. Another arm. And in that moment, from the center of its torso, one head, elongated neck comes out, and you see the face of Rook. And he begins to scream and shout, "Father, please!" As that face then begins to grow and a row of teeth match it. And you watch as before you, Floor looks to you and says, "We have been waiting for this time. Father has gifted me the ability to have all of his children present." And you watch as from that head another pop out, that resembling of Wania, that then in a terrifying scream elongates itself, a similar snout, and a third head, and then two more from the sides. You haven't seen these faces before, but something within you lets you know they are his children. As the creature begins to look at all of you. The black ooze begins to fall from its face. As standing before you, a creature with 5 heads turn in your direction, and at the center of it, floating slightly in the space, is Floor. And he says, I can see you all. My family. Join us.
Floor, this isn't you. What are you even wearing? You didn't put that on. You'd be wearing a diaper right now if you had the choice. You have to listen to us.
Father has picked this out for me. He cares for me deeply and wants me to succeed in my task. I like it. It makes me feel complete.
But we care about you too, Floor. And we know that this is not something that you would choose if you had your own free will.
Perhaps. Or maybe this was my purpose all along. To come here and serve Father.
No. You get to choose.
The creature begins to now thunder behind Floor, closer and closer, as the 5 heads peer above and are just menacingly staring your direction.
You don't like to hurt people, Floor. You don't want to do this.
I'm not doing anything, Mother. I'm simply here. The creature gets closer, begins to growl in the direction of all of you. And at that point, Guillermo looks up and he goes, okay, very well. Keep doing this. From above you, you hear 2 bulbs of energy crashing and emitting this like flash of light as Omis and Sire are engaging in some altercation above you, but you can't even make out their corporeal bodies. They are just these flashes of light that break through the planes of existence, collide and crash, and then exit to another.
Is it go time?
I say very hesitantly.
I'll reach my feather out. You look tired, child. Come rest. Come rest with your family.
He begins to glide in your direction. He gets closer and closer, and you watch as his hand stand out. And as his hand comes out, you see these black tendrils overtake his arm. And as he's getting closer to you, his hand extends out, and the tendrils now go past his hand, reaching towards you. That's all I've ever wanted. To be with you all. Here, at home. Getting closer and closer, you're within 20 feet now of Floor. As the tendrils, almost with a mind of their own, are like wildly reaching out towards you.
Are those tendrils attached to the main monster and they're just like flowing through him?
No, they're flowing through Floor.
Could I dash in and try and grapple the tentacles?
Oh, I have a reaction to that.
If Floor is just gliding your direction and these tentacles are behaving on the mind of their own, go ahead and make an attack because you're reaching for the tentacles and not Floor, who's the willing creature.
That is a 15.
How are you grappling these tentacles?
He's reaching towards Quinn. I rush in, get him under my arm, and then just hold him in place in like a chokehold almost.
You grab onto the tentacles. At that point, you guys watch as Cheese is holding on and the tentacles are almost like shrieking, trying to escape as you seem to have a hold on it. I am gonna need you to roll a d8 for me.
That's an 8.
Before the grapple goes off, seeing Cheese go in and instead of just going for his 1-2 punch combo, noticing that he is trying to get a hold of it, I'm gonna crack open the gauntlet, whip out the vacuum, and let's see if we can try this again. Almost give it like a little rev. I would like to cast Reduce on the big ooze monster.
Ooh.
To hope that the tentacles either shrink and he can get a better grapple on him. It's a con save.
22.
Oh, okay, just kidding. Same thing, it points out in front and tries sucking up some of the ooze, but it just keeps getting blocked and I can't get any more.
And you let go and you're trying to hold on, and at that point, the 5 heads, they all face in your direction. Now, I'm gonna have you guys roll initiative.
Oh.
No.
I'm gonna need you to roll Constitution saving throw, Cheese.
Okay. All right. 13.
That fails. You take 5 points of radiant damage, and your vision goes black as you are blinded for this next turn.
Oh.
At that point, you hold on, and as you're holding on, it's almost like for a brief second you hear, cheese, please. And then you hear, and that darkness takes over and grapples your mind. Let me go ahead and get initiative checks from everybody.
10.
25.
14.
Dirty 20.
Top of the round, Cheese, followed by Fiffin, followed by Quinn, followed by the Hydra, followed by Pond. Floor, Xander, takes the same initiative as the Hydra. Fiffin, you try to reduce the creature to no effect. Cheese, you find yourself blinded after attempting to, and you hear the low voice of a child calling out somewhere deep within. You fail the grapple. So right now you come out of it, your vision goes black, you're not holding on to him anymore.
I take a knee and I will kind of turn to Floor.
We're trying to help you, buddy. We just need you to fight. Anything you can do.
I will just take the dodge action and I'll just stay where I am.
Fiffin with Quinn on deck.
I am going to almost Ben 10 my bark gauntlet, smack the gem as 3 other Fiffins start to shift into existence around me.
Ooh.
Nice.
Yeah.
I'm going to cast Mirror Image
Hell yeah.
just to save myself a little bit.
These visions of Fiffin emerge.
I would like to go northeast about 10 feet just to sort of circle around and not get too far away from the fight, but still keep my distance. And then, because we just leveled up and I was able to take my 3rd level in Rogue, I have my Mastermind subclass. So for my bonus action, I would like to use the Master of Tactics to give the help action to Quinn.
Oh, thanks.
Quinn, you will have advantage on your next attack with whatever you decide to make.
Nice.
Awesome. Fiffin, you get up to the very top. You extend out your will to help out Quinn. Quinn, what are you doing?
Feeling encouraged by Fiffin, Quinn is going to use her movement. I want to separate Floor from this energy. She's going to shoot straight ahead of her. I want to try and shoot right through the hat and knock the hat off of his head, then land in between Floor and the Hydra.
Give me an acrobatics check. And you can do it with advantage from Fiffin.
16 plus 8.
24. You fly past, and at that point, you watch as Floor is slightly distracted with Cheese in front of him and Fiffin, and you find an opening and you knock the hat. And you watch as when you hit it, it feels muddy like clay that just hasn't formed properly. And when it hits the ground, it plops, and then it melts away into this black tar, sizzling the floor.
Quinn is Floor and her family behind her, gonna take out her short sword and just kind of under her breath, "You better fight, kid." And she's gonna make an attack against the Hydra head that looks like Waynia, because I hate that bitch.
A 12.
You go to swing as the neck coils back, you miss it entirely, and it just snaps its jaws right above you.
And then I'm gonna take my second attack because its jaws are right above me, and I have 2 attacks. That's much better. Dirty 20.
That hits.
2 plus 4 is 6. You know what? I'll expend a spell slot and use Divine Smite to give an extra 2d8 of radiant damage.
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah.
Because 6 damage feels a little lame. All right. Oh, a 7 and a 5. 12 so 12 plus 6 for a total of 18 damage.
As the jaws snap above you, shut, you find an opening as you feel the creature being very cocky and toying with you. But you take your short sword, you see it vibrantly shine for a brief second, and you cut above you. And you watch as the jaw of this creature open up as the radiant energy engulfs it. Seems to do some pretty good damage. It is the Hydra's turn. The Hydra is going to engage with you, and it's going to go ahead and make 5 attacks against you.
Jesus God! I didn't think about that.
Oops. Whoopsie daisy.
For fuck's sake.
So the first one is an 18.
That hits.
Second one's a natural 1.
Oh, but
Does not hit.
Second one is a 26.
That hits.
Oh boy.
23.
Hits.
And last one, a 17.
Does not hit.
Okay, so 3 of them. You take 52 points of damage. As the creature begins to snap at you and bite you, let go of your wing, and then another head comes from underneath, hits you at the very bottom. You lose wind as another head from right above you catches you, and you're held there in the space. And the Hydra, as the eyes of Wania fix on you with a similar distaste.
Oh no.
Xander's turn. Xander's going to look at you, Cheese. I need you to roll a d8 for me.
This is very confusing for me.
Okay, last time it was an 8, this time it's a 1.
Pawn, Fiffin, and Cheese, I need you guys all to make Constitution saving throws.
I don't want
good
you
golly
to make me do
gracious.
that.
Jose, is this a spell?
It is a melee attack of wonder.
Damn it.
I got a 17.
Oh, I got a 16, please.
That's a success.
Oh, thank God.
14 is a success.
That is not a success.
Thank God I made
Oh
it.
no.
You just take 3 points of necrotic damage. When all of you are standing there, Cheese, you find yourself at such a proximity to Floor, and as his energy is around you, it wildly lashes out to the things that are around. Pond and Fiffin, you hear, "I'm sorry." Pond, with Cheese on deck.
This is a hell of a moment. So I'm pulling out the lyre, and I'm gonna start playing the most intense song that I can think of that is thematically on point. And I start playing through the Fire and Flames, like bardcore.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
And the point that it's centering on is behind the Hydra, kind of like where the fountain is, because it's a 20-foot radius. And like from the air around, it's like grabbing the sparks from the 2 gods crashing above. It's probably sending a lot of energy into the air, and this is just pulling from that. And the flames come together into a fireball that just drops down and explodes out. Dex save, please.
That's a 7.
That fails. So that is 27 fire damage, please.
Nice.
While I'm furiously shredding, I know you don't want to be doing this, Floor. You need to fight it. You need to be with us. You've known us so much longer than that guy. Come back to us.
You watch as when the fireball hits the very top of the fountain, it just engulfs the entire 20-foot radius, and one of the heads looks back as the flames come up and engulf its entire head. When the flames diminish, the head is gone.
Let's go.
Hell yeah.
I'm going to go just to the top of the stairs. And that's my turn.
The space where that head was is still slightly engulfed in flame.
Sick.
Cheese. The darkness lifted away from your eyes. You can now see, and essentially you see before you Quinn battered, one part of the Hydra slightly in flames, the same fierce red eyes before you of Floor.
As I come to, and I see Quinn is taking on this Hydra on her own, basically, I turn to Floor.
I know you wouldn't do this if you were in your right mind, but I hope you understand you're super grounded.
I'm going to shadow step away from Floor to the opposite side of the Hydra so that we can get some flanking on this fool. I will take just so many attacks. First attack is a 22.
That hits.
Second attack is a 16.
That hits.
Okay, so that's 2 attacks that hits. I am going to use a key point to do a flurry of blows. That's 2 more attacks. First one is a 22 again, so that's 3 attacks that hits. Oh, last one's a nat 20.
Okay.
Let's go.
5 plus 8 plus 7, so 20. So that'd be 12 plus 3, so 15. So 20 plus 15.
35.
And then I forgot about this before, but I have a thing as a dog called Slippery or something like that, where if I crit on an attack, I get to do dodge as a free action.
Oh, snap.
And that's it for me.
Tell me how you remove one of the heads.
I shadow step behind it. The first 3 attacks, just normal punches right to the butt. The 4th attack, though, I leap up. I wrap my arm around one of the heads, and I do like a bridge, like a wrestling bridge. I just pull it off backwards.
Yes.
Fiffin with Quinn on deck.
Fiffin is reaching into his pouch. He has been accumulating a brand new collection. He pulls out his lavender sprigs. God, I hate to get rid of these again. Crushes them up in his palm, and with the bark gauntlet, activates a little fan and just blows them directly at the Hydra. I would like to cast Fairy Fire.
Okay.
Nice.
Can it make a dexterity saving throw, please?
Yes, absolutely. Dirty 20.
Fuck! That doesn't work. So the lavender blows off into the distance. I will use my bonus action, Master of Tactics. You know what? I'm going to risk it and give Floor the help action in case he might need it for anything. And just scream over to him, I know I'm supposed to respect my elders, but wake the fuck up! And I'm going to use my movement to continue northeast, circling around the fight, and I'm going to duck behind that gazebo, right on that little patch of grass.
Quinn with the Hydra and Xander on deck.
Quinn's gonna go ahead and just do 2 more attacks with her short sword. First attack is a nat 1.
Even with advantage?
You have advantage because you are flanking with cheese.
Yeah.
Oh!
That's why I'm over there.
For that. 17!
Yeah, that hits.
There we go.
And then 12 plus 8 is a dirty 20 for the second attack.
So both hit.
6 plus 4 is 10. 4 plus 4 is 8, so 18. And then I am going to pump another Divine Smite to do an extra 2d8. Plus 5, plus 4.
27 exactly.
I want to try and immobilize it so it can't move around, and so all it can do is move its heads.
Watches this body of this creature, very reptilian, long. It's a little bit harder for it to completely become prone. But you manage to sweep a leg enough that the leg comes underneath its belly and it loses its balance and begins to fall forward as one of the head coils underneath to try to hold the body up, and the body crushes the head. Another head gone.
Nice. Let's go.
I'm gonna move so I'm back to back with Floor. I don't want to go out of melee with the Hydra. I'll just say, we know you're in there. Take your time, but I know you can do this.
You place your hand or your feather by him, and you feel just a hot, radiating heat of a body that is unlike any temperature that you have felt so far. And at this point, you watch as the Hydra gather itself, and one leg finds its footing again on the ground. And as it comes up, 2 heads remaining. You watch as the other 3, one burning, seemingly nothing happens, but the other 2, from the caverns where the necks were, 2 heads emerge from one, and another 2 heads emerge from the other, for a total of 6 heads now on the Hydra.
Shit.
But the fire, where the fire took effect, that head did not come back. So now with 6 heads, it is going to make 4 attacks with you, Cheese, and 2 on Quinn.
All right, goodbye, everyone.
Oh, no.
No, jeez.
Nice. This is the big self-sacrifice scene.
No.
This is 16.
Does not hit.
26.
Yes.
Natural 20.
Oh, buddy.
Another 16.
Nope.
Quinn, you get 18 for the first one,
Yep.
18 for the second one.
Yep.
For the first one, 15 points of piercing damage, and then for the crit, another 15 for a total of 30 points of piercing damage. But you have you said you had a dodge action as a...
Oh, yeah.
Oh
I
my
take the
gosh.
dodge action,
Nice.
so...
You negate one of them. Quinn, you take 22 points of piercing damage as 4 of the heads go and attack Cheese, and as you find yourself slightly confident, 2 other just come out and shoot in your direction. All of them ripping you and Cheese apart, causing some fairly serious damage. I need you, Quinn, to roll a d8 for me, as from behind you, you hear, "You don't want to come with me, Quinn?"
1.
I need you to make a Constitution saving throw with advantage.
Oh, how's the natural 20 sound?
Nice.
How about that? How about them apples?
In that moment, when you stand back to back with Floor and you place your feather on him, you feel this darkness begin to take your mind. But you shake it off and you find yourself looking at a child, a small boy standing in front of you. What do you say to persuade Floor?
Bruised, beaten, bloody. She'll reach a feather out and just kind of brush a hair behind his ear. I know it's hard, and I know you're fighting. We all believe in you. I need you to come back to us.
Roll a persuasion check.
I don't care what this roll is, Quinn. At this moment, you see a little bit of the lavender petals flow between you and Floor as you're speaking, and you're going to get a flash of genius for +4.
16 plus 1 plus 4 is 21. Come on, buddy.
Quinn, I need some help. Please, don't leave my side.
I won't.
As you have one success.
Okay. Okay.
And at this point, the black tendrils take over, your vision comes back, and you now see before you the much older, mature one. But these black tendrils now begin to protrude from its body, and they're towering above his head. Pond.
So I'm continuing to play through the Fire and Flames, and I am shifting the tone ever so slightly to change what magic is coming out. And I'd like to cast Hold Monster as the chains of rock come out of the ground to try and latch onto it and just strap it and the heads down. Can I have a wisdom save, please?
That's an 11.
Let's go.
Oh, finally.
That spell is
Yes!
is like 100% hit rate so far.
Yeah. All right, so it is paralyzed, and at the end of each of its turns, it can make another wisdom saving throw, which is sick because it goes right before me, so that's a whole round right there.
That's
Nice,
a lot of
nice.
crits.
Automatically fails strength and dexterity saving throws. Attack rolls against the creature have advantage. Any attack that hits the creature is a critical hit if the attacker is within 5 feet of the creature.
Yes.
That's what I wanted.
That's going to be a good round. Let's go.
At that point, when you do that and you watch as the creature completely immobilizes and becomes paralyzed into space, its head still snarling, from above you still see the flashes of rips through reality, and the two beings come to clash and collide. As at that point, you see a corporeal form of Sire holding the fist of Omis, and Omis is just chuckling, and he goes, "Go get him, my boy!" He shouts down to Xander, and they vanish again as the moons continue getting closer and closer to a center point. Cheese with Fiffin on deck.
No, Floor, do not get them, my boy. Help us. Our boy.
I kind of lick some of the cuts, and then I jump on this fool, and I'm just we're doing another 4 attacks. Okay, well, first attack's a 26, so that's 1 crit. I only rolled a 10 on the second attack, though. So another key point, 2 more attacks. Second attack is a 22. Third attack is a dirty 20.
Let's go.
3-hit auto crits on all of those.
It's 2d6 for each, so 12, 24, 36, plus 9, 45.
Sheesh.
Let's go.
I'm gonna jump off of him after receiving all that damage last time, and I'm going to shadow step behind the fountain.
When you come out of it from behind, you gather yourself behind the fountain, and to your right and to your left, you see Quinn's mother that is perching herself on some of the shoulders of the individual still holding their hands up, shouting, "Oh, miss, oh, miss." And you see as her talons is almost pierced into the skin, and some of the people "Ow!" And when they come out of it, their eyes lose this fog look to them, and they just bewildered, very much like Marikar, begin to look around, and they're "Ah!" And some of the creatures begin to run around as Marikar from the other side is just really punching one individual after the other. And she just punches one, pushes another, takes her foot and presses the knees down as they buckle, and then she takes the eyes and opens them and goes, "I hope this is helping!" Fiffin with Quinn on deck.
We are peeking out from behind the gazebo. I'm done casting spells. It's Mega Man time. The gauntlet's out, and we're shooting a big old lightning laser at it. 4, 17 to hit.
That hits.
Perfect. That's going to be 2d6 plus 4 plus another 2d6 for sneak attack, so 4d6 total. Oh, good damage. 17 plus 4, 21 damage for the first attack. We're reloading, doing another. Oh, that one's only 14 to hit.
That does not hit.
And then, you know what? We're going to look back, and we have 4 Fiffins just staring straight at Pond. And we're just all going to give you a nice little thumbs up at the same time. For master attacks as bonus action, you have the help action, so you'll have advantage on your next roll.
Hell yeah.
That's it. I'm just going to stay ducked behind the gazebo.
Quinn.
Just gonna hit it with my sword again. Oh, okay, what happens if I crit on an auto crit? Because that's a nat 20 to hit.
Damn.
Take your damage and max it. For that first one, you're just maxing it out and then adding whatever pluses are to it, doubling that.
I'm gonna take my second attack, and that is a 19 to hit.
That hits.
So then I'm going to do what I always do and pump a blinding smite into it this time, which is 3d8. So it's just 10 for both of those attacks, so that's already 20.
And then double that, so that's 40.
Oh, yeah. Oh, shit. Yeah. Oh, no. And then the blinding smite, 14.
54 points of damage.
And then he also has to roll a con save or he'll be blinded.
Oh, that's a natural 20.
Yeah, I didn't think so.
At this point, Quinn, one of the other heads, it bursts, leaving it with 4 heads again. You're just going around and you're brandishing your sword all throughout this creature to the point where some of the heads begin to coil back from you as they are afraid of the next strike, but the next can't coordinate and you find an opening within one and another. You slash through, the head falls off, hits the ground, turns into that black ichor, like poison almost onto the stone floor. And then with that, the creature...
Don't fuck with my family!
The creature coils back, and from the opening of the 2 holes, 2 more heads emerge for a total of 8 heads now.
Okay.
Stop that.
As the more of the heads come out, and you
heads.
hear, "Oh mess, oh mess, oh mess," and the people begin to chant more and more. Above you look, and the 2 creatures of the Fae and this entity of darkness are engaging in a fierce battle in the skies above you, and the moons continue crescently looming above you. Okay. So it regains for every head. There we go. Alrighty. With every new head. So it was very low, but now it's okay. But that was a very good round. So with that, it's just going to go ahead and attack you.
He's still paralyzed. Until the end of its turn, it can try again.
You are saved this round, Quinn.
Of course. Mm-hmm.
The Hydra remains. Wisdom save? That's a 5.
That fails again.
So it's still paralyzed?
Uh-huh.
Yo!
Fiffin, I need you to make a Constitution saving throw. And then roll a d8 for me.
Oh god, is this a spell?
Yes.
I get advantage. 15.
First roll the d8 and then tell me your con save. Sorry, I flipped it.
I got a 4.
You rolled a 15.
Yes.
You watch as the tendrils come out and they become all-encompassing of the space around them, almost like they're just shadowing the small figure of Floor before you, even his older state. The tendrils come up and menacingly peer in your direction. And in that brief moment, you hear, "Please, no, not Fiffin." So that's a success. Pond.
First things first, an added bit of description for the chains that are holding down the monster. They're little tiny frogs at the end of the chains that are like the ones holding it down. They're holding it so strong. They're so small, so mighty. I start moving closer towards where Xander Floor Torin is. Not off of the stairs. I'm just kind of where that little ledge is behind that tree. And I'm gonna say, we can't hold this thing forever, but we will do it until we have you back, Floor. I want to do something a little bit more localized, so I might as well do another fireball. The riff has not stopped from through the fire and flames, truly becoming less of a frog, more of a dragon and a force to be reckoned with. The fireball collides down with it. That's a dex save, which it auto fails as a paralyzed fella. 35 fire damage.
Sheesh.
One of the heads bursts, leaving it with 7 heads now. Still just holding there as the images of these frogs holding down the chains, engulf it in flame. The frogs still remain, the chains glowing red with ember ferocity to them, and the creatures just taking one hit after another as another head bursts in front of you.
I'm just maintaining concentration on that spell, and that's it.
At the top of this 4th round, you watch as from above you, Sire and Omis, they clash, and then Sire floats down rapidly in your direction. This is impossible. I'm not able to contain this for much longer. I might... And you watch as Omis says, say it. He goes, I must leave you all. And you watch as the moons get closer, and Yermo from the distance says, the voracious night is almost upon us. From the distance away, as the moons are getting to a point of almost coming into contact. And with that, Sire shoots like a shooting star across the sky. Omis stands there looking at you all, and he says, I'm so proud of you, Xander. Just know, your brother's deaths will be avenged by your hand. And I love you, son. And he also shoots in the same direction as Sire. Cheese, top of the round with Fiffin on deck.
So is this area just sort of southwest of the Hydra on fire right now because of that fireball?
On fire? Yeah, technically, yeah.
I'd like to do a control flames cantrip to expand the fire 5 feet in its direction.
Ooh.
Basically just try to kind of light them up a little bit with the residual fire.
If you're controlling the flames and bringing them to this direction, roll a d6 for me.
3.
Takes 3 points of fire damage.
I didn't know what that was gonna do, but it doesn't look like the punching does as well as the fire.
And then I'm gonna use the rest of my movement to get up to Floor, and I want to put my hand on his shoulder.
Floor, no matter how tonight ends, I want you to know that we love you more than he does. More and healthier and better. The way we love you doesn't ask of you anything.
Go ahead and make a persuasion check for me.
15.
How do you further persuade Floor?
Knowing that being in close contact with him has hurt physically in the past, can I give him a big old hug?
You come in, you embrace him. Give me another persuasion check.
Oh, the worst possible. That's a nat 1.
No.
I'm still trying to figure out the hugging thing.
You hold on to him, and as you're holding on to him, you feel a slight warmth and a careful embrace as you hear, you never really were a good dog, Cheese. As the black tendrils come out and push you away from him, still within melee, but manage to push you enough away, as the persuasion did not succeed. That is 1 fail. Anything else, Cheese?
No, I think that's it for me.
Fiffin with Quinn on deck.
Charging up the gauntlet. Things are getting squirrely. We're going for another Mega Man blast. That's a 27 to hit.
That hits.
So same as before, it's 1d6 plus 1d6 of lightning plus 2d6 of sneak attack. 9 damage total plus 4, 13. I do have a second attack. Another 27. And this one is just 9 damage. And then I want to look back at Pond on the stairs. Again, give him my bonus action, Master of Tactics, so his next roll will have the help action. You gotta get through to him. I don't know how much more we can do.
But Fiffin, describe to me how you end this creature.
Just from behind the gazebo, my back is almost facing completely away from the fountain itself, breathing and gasping and trying to figure out what I need to do. And in that split second, none of my spells are working. Everyone else is just going at it. I might as well join them. The gem charges and crackles. I just close my eyes, extend the hand as I come out from cover, and launch.
At this point, you launch one of the heads instinctively. It bursts as the creature begins to writhe in sheer panic and pain. The heads begin to slightly, almost weirdly morph back into the creatures that it used to be. And there you see other faces that you've never seen before. even one slightly resembling Marikar. And the faces continue to writhe in pain, and then the body falls. But as it falls, from where that head was eradicated, you see slight movement from within.
I'm gonna look back at Pond. Press play!
Oh! Can I press play as on the thing to play Sire's message?
Torin, I'm sorry you were alone. And I'm sorry that your father was corrupted, and I'm sorry that your mother paid the price. If I could, I would have the both of you live here for eternity. But that cannot be the case. I'm sorry for everything that's about to happen. I simply wanted to give you everything.
And now you see before you the baby form of Floor just sitting on the ground,
Honey.
tapping at its legs, and looks up to you. Pond.
You were the best thing that could have happened to me here because you brought me and everyone else here together. We don't want to lose you, and I know you don't want to lose you. No one wants to lose this world, which will happen if we lose you.
Make a persuasion check with advantage.
31.
God damn.
At that moment, you say this to Floor, and from behind you, Omis appears.
Fight it, boy. Imagine everything you could do here with me.
Archdevil, I think it's witch time.
And as he stands there, he looks over.
No mother. No true father. No friends. Imagine growing up at home with nothing. You'll be an orphan, wandering the streets of Fendraeya on your own. But here, as my child, I will give you eternity.
The Archdevil peeks their head from behind, making eye contact with you, Pond. He nods in your direction, as Omis is fixed solely on Floor.
I'm just gonna kind of look to everybody as Floor is just facing Omis, and I'm gonna make my way to Floor's side. Try and gather everyone around him in this moment, and I'll just put my wing on his leg.
Take the hint and circle around, standing behind Quinn.
I will stand behind Floor and I'll put my hands on both of his shoulders, glaring daggers at Omis.
I am trying to clear my head of everything except where I want Omis to go, which is as far away as possible.
I wish Omis was with his sons, wherever they are.
You say that. The four of you begin to feel that same feeling as before from the Archfey, as the moons land on top of one another. You watch as they begin to glow vibrantly. And Omis, his hair begins to wildly begin to raise up as he begins to glow white again with that red tone to it. And Floor looks up, and he looks at all of you, Fiffin and Cheese, Quinn, and then gets down to stand right behind you, Pond. And he places his fingers right on your shoulders. As the Archdevil, you hear very faintly,
Then so it shall be.
the ground bursts open. You hear this agonizing, whimpering sound as you hear, Father, please, save us, claim us, take us back. And Omis turns around. Blightmore? Namora? As these two black hands grab onto his arms. No, Xander, please! And he turns around to Floor. How would you like Floor to respond to this plea from Omis?
I'll never be as alone as you with my family.
Floor looks up to Omis as these two black hands made up of this smoke begin to drag him into something that seems to be vibrant and alive and pulsing. And Sire appears, and he grabs onto the hands and he begins to pull as well. And Floor says, I'll never be as alone as you because of my family. Omis gets pulled in. Just as Sire looks up and he goes, I truly am sorry. And he dives in the space as well. And you hear an echoing from Omis as he begins to be dragged down through the space, perhaps between life and death, perhaps death itself, perhaps somewhere further beyond your comprehension, or perhaps the truest form of his desired chaos takes reign. The ground itself seals. The moons remain, but from them, a bright light engulfs the entire sky from corner to corner as it feels like daylight emerges into space once again. One by one, all of the citizens of Wyldacre begin to blink and rub their eyes and look up. Your giant friend pond emerges from behind the castle, and they're all looking wildly everywhere. As Yermo comes up to you all, thank you. All of you.
All in a day's work, really.
As I faint, just to collapse straight forward.
What will you do now?
I don't know. Don't know how to go on from here. With no Archfey to take over. Oh, perhaps you! And he points over to the Archdevil. And the Archdevil, me what? Perhaps you can, take over and run this place we call home. No. But thank you. And he looks at all of you. Thank you. This black cloud engulfs him as he disappears, and your mother stands behind that black cloud as it vanishes. She flies over to you. Quinn!
Hey, Mum.
That was incredible. I could never do anything like that. I'm not one to tell you these things now, but you should be very careful with that blade.
It's very large and very sharp, I know. I'm very careful, Mum. Thank you for all your help.
Thank you, Quinn. Thank you for letting me be here with you while I can. And your family. I don't know how much of me there is still here, but I would love to be with you until the last moment. If you'll have me.
I'd like that, Mum.
Thank you.
Come here. And I'll kind of lead my mom over to the group. I don't think I have actually, introduced you guys. This is my mom.
It's wonderful to meet you.
Hi, Mom.
Muffled from the dirt.
You raised one heck of a daughter.
Quinn's mom smiles and she goes, I wish I could have been there for it all. But you've done good. Markar then looks over to you and she goes, are you going to be this form back at home, or?
Back at home.
I melt out of the ink and just into my regular dog bod.
Back at home. I don't know why I thought maybe you could stay here with us.
Oh. I guess that's an option.
I know you had your life back in Fendraeya, but here is pretty wonderful too.
Is there anywhere that we can get fun drinks?
Oh, I know a place that's got drinks that don't make any logical sense. There's just colors. The whole place is made out of butterflies.
You know, still trying to grapple with the fact that you're sentient and speaking to me like this? I'm not surprised.
It took me a little while.
Yeah, I guess there's no reason to. We were just going from place to place, really. Just seeking something that we know now to be fault. Okay, perhaps we can talk about it.
I'd like that.
As you watch as all of the people around are just like now slowly turning in your guys' directions. There's like hundreds of different creatures, shapes and sizes within Wyldacre that are not listening into your conversation, but are very much like looking at the people in the center of the courtyard. And then you hear, as you look down, and you see there on the ground, Floor.
I'll stand up, take off my pot, and scoop him up.
Well, now we've got the baby again. So, who's ready for round 2?
Pond, as you say that, you see at the top of the stairs, emerging through the same Leonin, Simus, looking your direction. And he begins to walk down the stairs, keeping a distance from you all. He gets a little closer and he looks to you, Quinn. And then he takes a beat before he gets a little bit closer and...
Excuse me. Pond. The child is much too young.
Yeah, but he grows up fast.
He's not meant for here, Pond.
I know. He's got to go home.
Is there any way for us to visit him?
Who knows? We might be able to figure out something that won't disrupt the natural flow of the plains. We don't want to draw more chaos here.
I don't want to have to go through all that again. Maybe next time it's not our job to do that. Just a thought.
Hey, we got it done, didn't we?
Yeah, but we could have just been having a party or sitting in some water or something.
That's not much of a story, huh?
And then some of the individuals look around and they're like, you know, this seems a little off-putting, but we are here. And some of the other individuals go, I don't think right now is the best time. And other people are like, I think right now is the best time.
I agree.
Boom, 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 boom.
There it is.
As some of the individuals begin to break out slightly in some form of music. And then Simus looks at you. And then he extends his hands out.
I sort of slide the baby out of the pot.
You take him out of the pot. And you go to bring your hands back. His little baby hand holds onto your finger.
No, don't do that. Don't do that. You're going to hurt yourself.
He grabs it a little tighter. And then Simon says,
As long as he's within my grasp, he's protected.
I reach out and I hug Floor while he's in Simus's hands.
We're going to miss you, buddy. Thank you for everything.
It's like a little giggle as he lets go of your finger. And then he begins to do grabby hands in the direction of Fiffin, Cheese, and Quinn.
I'll go up and give him a little hug. Probably not take him from Zymus. Just kind of come up and give him a little pat. It's been fun, little dude. Maybe I'll see you again soon.
He grabs the edges of your horns.
Yeah.
And he begins to tug and pull on them.
Oh, yeah.
He lets go and then he's looking at
Cheese and Quinn.
I will raise myself up in my original like inky flail form, where it's just my head and like the tentacle. And I'll kind of get in close to his face and sniff him a bit. And then I'll kind of lick his cheeks. And then in the way that cats will sometimes do, I'll kind of rub my head on his body. Just get my scent on him. I'll find you one of these days.
Places his lips right on top of your snout. As his little slightly damp baby hands are just caressing your fur. And he's holding on to your little face and then lets go of it. And then looks to you, Quinn, and goes, Mama.
Hi, dear. I'll go up to him. I'll flip my little feathers above his head, because I know he likes to grab at them. I'll just take one of my... Barn owls have these like 2 staple feathers, like kind of where their ears would be. I'm gonna pick one of them out. It's a really long one that's got blue at the tip of it. I'm gonna cast Protection Against Good and Evil on the feather and give it to him. As long as you have this, you can find your way back to us, okay, buddy?
He holds onto the feather and then he holds it a little tight and then looks to you and just smiles, and that you don't know if there's full comprehension there, but you believe that there is.
I can't really kiss him because I have a beak. Kind of just preen on his forehead a little bit and step back and be sad.
Simus looks to you all and he says, Perhaps not now, but at some point this child will grow. Naturally. You may come find me when that time is right. Protectors of Wyldacre. From town. Of all places. He takes his claws, he brandishes them, they begin to glow gold as he rips the same fabric-like tether that exists between the planes of existence. And as he holds up Floor, he tucks him in a little bit higher. Floor presses up against his chest, and he looks back to you all, and he goes, Love.
We love you, dear.
As Simus steps through, and the portal begins to magically seal itself. And there you can almost see Simus walking, and the same vibrant eyes of Floor peeking through the darkness as the last little bit of the space seals. And you continue to hear the music, and there's some people that are walking around going, Hey, I don't think this is the time. I really don't. You need to there's a lot of people that are hurt. What is one final thing you're all doing on this elevation of Tress?
Turning around immediately from the bark gauntlet, a little pipe emerges from the palms, and Fiffin is skipping around, shooting off fireworks.
All right, Fiffin, do that one that I like.
Pond will shake off the melancholy of the moment and embrace the joy of it, take out the lyre and start playing along with the music that's already there. As he's skipping around, playing the music, getting it into the festive rite, he's just kind of like lightly tapping people and cure woundsing just every person that seems hurt.
In the center of the courtyard, the body of the Hydra that turned to black sludge in all of this begins to turn into flowers that, with the commotion and the movement, begin to swirl around in the space, and they now encompass the entire area of this courtyard. And that same blue-haired individual, that bird-like person, finds you in the crowd and goes, I like your energy, boy. I like how you play. I think you and I should be acquainted a little more. Perhaps we can jam out together. And he brings out his accordion.
Hell yes. I'd like that a lot, sir. I'd like that a lot.
And come on. And he puts the accordion like down on the ground for you to stand on the accordion.
Okay.
And he begins to play it, and you watch as like your legs begin to part and come back together. Hey everyone, look at this little one. He can play like no one else. And he's like showing you off as you begin to play the music.
She's, after kind of staring at the space where Floor once was, he turns back and looks like everyone's starting to kind of get into the festivities again. He goes over to Markar to try and get her to join in with him, and maybe she's hesitant at first, but after a few moments he kind of managed to drag her into dancing with everyone else. And he steps into the shadow. He shadow steps all over the place. He's sort of zipping to and fro as many places as possible. And while he's doing that, he's also casting Minor Illusion to have rainbows trail behind him. And they kind of look like banners as he's teleporting. Remember, if you're familiar with Nyan Cat from all those years ago.
Oh, yeah.
I was about
It's
to
got
say.
some hard Nyan Cat vibes as he's just kind of
I
shooting
love it.
from spot to spot with rainbows trailing behind him.
You watch as Markar at first is very like hesitant as some of the citizens come up and they begin to attend to some of her wounds, as she is slightly, looking a little bit disheveled from earlier, bouncing it off. And then when you begin to shoot off the rainbow, she like squeezes through the individuals. And then she just stands at the center of the courtyard, leans on the fountain, and then looks at you, and then just lets out a breath as you're shooting off from one corner of the courtyard to the other. And she's more looking at the people reacting to you. That's my boy.
Quinn is definitely going to be one of those people. Okay, this is not actually the time. It's not really the time, though, because there are people who are injured and we need to organize a little bit. And her and her mom are probably both going to be that way. And so she's going to cast Aura of Vitality and go to hurt people and give them some HP back, seeing that Pond is kind of doing the same. Okay, all right. So, knowing there's nothing left to do but party, but Quinn's not a partier. So she'll kind of go to her mom. So, Mom, I was actually, this whole thing was kind of crazy, and it made me think of a time, like it was a while ago. Anyway, in town we had this kind of like, it was actually Fiffin's birthday, but he didn't want, it was a surprise party kind of thing, and so we had set up that, and she's just going to tell her mom story after story after story of growing up, and of town, and her house, and this family that she's found, and how she met them, and is just going to talk her mom's ear off about her life and what she missed, and catch her up for as long as she's here to be caught up.
You find yourself talking through all of these points, so natural to you, and yet all she can do is just stare at you. You see those mechanical eyes that are adjusting at every sentence and every phrase. And every time, it's almost like her eyes click at every single passing moment that's happening before you. Fireworks shooting off in the sky, a rainbow dog prancing through the space, and the tiniest frog you've ever seen playing with all of its heart. All sharing in this moment here in Wyldacre. As the moons slightly begin to shift away from one another at a slow pace, and the day is filled with a celebration felt by many who were not even aware of what was happening. But to you all, you did it. Natural chaos, as things should be. Thank you all so much for listening. That is a wrap on Wyldacre. We will see you all next time.
Let's go.
Stop it!